All right, good morning, guys. Melissa here, just getting up. I'm actually going to have breakfast this morning before I exercise. I usually get up and exercise right away because it's easier to get it done and over with. I was watching a video last night with Rick Springfield, one of the guys I grew up with on General Hospital, right? Had a crush on him. And he's like 76 now. I'm like, wow, I didn't realize he was actually like 20 years older than me. And he was talking about exercise. He's in good shape for his age. I mean, yeah, it looks like plastic surgery, but he's in good shape. And he says he gets his exercise done and over with in the morning. And I think that's a great mentality to have. If you can do it later, wonderful. If you can do it at night, whenever you can do it. But make sure you commit to being healthy as much as you can because you get to do more in life. You have more energy, more focus, etc. So I wanted to talk right now about abortion because this is a pro-life channel. You can join me on my other channels. I put something up yesterday on mothering. My mothering has always been extremely important to me. Extremely important. It is a privilege to be a mother. So, so I was, connecting the dots and looking at George Tiller last night. He was the abortionist that got shot in 1996. He was gunned down in a church. How do we equate church and a murderer? Church and a murderer. The big difference, ladies, between a girl who goes into a abortion clinic not understanding abortion and a doctor who does 5 or 6 abortions a day, 5 or 6, times he's killing kids is pretty different, okay? I had someone yesterday on live action say, I think women ought to go to jail. And I said, no, they shouldn't. They don't. They don't know what they don't know. And she said, in this day and age with the internet, there's no excuse of ignorance. Well, there's a lot of reasons why girls have abortions. A lot of it is usually pressure from family. They don't understand, and usually they're not developed. They're just not developed. Once you're a mother, you understand it. You have that childbirth experience under your belt. You are being taught about it. So I'm not saying it's right for every single girl. Maybe she knows a little bit. How do I say this? Wait a minute, let me back up because I have to be careful with my words. I am not saying that every girl knows the same information as another girl. Maybe one girl does know more than another girl. But in general, girls are being preyed upon. They are, for the most part, victims. In sex trafficking, that is a big arena where abortions are provided. Girls, if they're in any kind of sex work, they cannot be pregnant and, be in sex work. There are choices there, but yet I watched Lila Rose talk to one woman and she's like, you didn't know my situation. I was doing sex work. You didn't know what, I had to deal with. And the lack of societal support is a big issue. There's not enough support for women who have been mistreated in life and they don't have enough support. So as I'm watching George Tiller, the doctor, right? He actually tries to blame women for his actions. And this is how an abortionist is not your friend, ladies. He says, well, she came in, she said, I'm in trouble, help me, kind of thing. So if a woman is that desperate and she's gone that far down to ask for help, I have to help her, kind of thing. And he's really blaming the woman in some of his interviews. And maybe back in the 50s it was like that. I didn't ask for an abortion. I did not have a conversation with the doctor at all. And I didn't have a conversation with the nurse. I was with my mother. My mother was the one who walked in the clinic with me and she fended me from all the people on the sidewalk. She was on the side of me so that they could not talk to me and I could not see them. And then she told me just sign the paper. And so it really came from a place of in the home more than it did with having a relationship with a doctor. I didn't have a relationship with him. It was just some doctor I had never been to before. And, he was pretty gruff. And I was told, at the end to put my clothes back on. They were thrown at me. They don't care. They talk about abortion aftercare. There was no abortion aftercare. They do not they'll do a follow up visit, maybe to put you on the pill, but they're not there in your life to make sure you're okay emotionally. And they don't care, especially with the abortion pill you can get in the mail. You have nobody now to help you. So we need to change society. We need to have support for women for when they are going through something. Don't break up with your boyfriend in person. I know a lot of people are like, oh, be a man, make sure you don't text a girl when you break up with her. But that is the exact time that during a breakup, there's a lot of emotions. It's not the best way to do something on your own like that, to try to break up with somebody on your own, because you can get talked into staying in the relationship. Put some distance there, make a phone call, say you'll talk about it down the road with other people in public. Don't do that alone. So we need more support for women. We need to hold abortion doctors accountable, and the industry and lawmakers. A lot of this starts at the politicians' side, where they make laws that it's okay for anybody to kill somebody's child. And again, it's not acceptable. And George Chiller did get shot. A lot of people feel Scott Roeder is a hero, and he is the one who should be, congratulated for killing an abortionist doctor. But we have to go through the government. We have to go through different ways. You cannot just go, into an abortion clinic and kill people. I did on the sidewalks have escorts who were pretty rotten to me. I mean, they would hip bump me. They would make up lies. They'd have the police over there to try to get you in trouble. And I was always with other people. But it is them who are the ones who are violent. And maybe you get a few people who are violent and, do things, but for the most part, they are not innocent abortion workers. They have their escorts out there. One day I went there and they will get the parking spots by the abortion clinic so you cannot park there. They will turn up the music so that your voice is drowned and you cannot talk to people. They'll do anything they can to make sure that they do get that baby killed. Anything they can. They will walk girls. Concord Feminist Health Center walked girls behind the center so that they would not see us. When I went up to a vehicle to talk to a guy, they tried to beat me over there. Planned Parenthood in Manchester, New Hampshire, where I stood in front of there. I had set up like a diaper little stand. It wasn't in the way. It was off to the side. They called the police to tell me to move my stand out of the way and that I couldn't have it there. They have cameras out there to watch anyone parking down the road and to see who they are. They also had like doctors coming from other states so that they could practice in Manchester. There's a pregnancy center right there where I was able to work with them, but they are pretty deceitful. Anything to get your baby killed, ladies. And, one of the ultrasounds, one of the girls came up to me when I held a huge sign of a baby in the womb. I think it was at 9 weeks old. And she came up to me and she was just telling me that Planned Parenthood over there gave her an ultrasound. It was all dark. Her mother went with her. It was dirty. It was disgusting. So this is the stuff they do. They are not your friend, ladies, and don't think for a minute they are. They are looking out for themselves.